Greetings and salutations, dreamers in Dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Listen to Me, Volume 9. And let me tell you, everything is beyond sublime. Today, we've got the 2020 year-end DreameLand Boxing International Awards. That's right, the DreameLand Boxing Year-End Awards. Here we go. Let's begin with this. We're going to start with the Promoter of the Year. I'm going to start with a tricky category, the Promoter of the Year. Now, there's three major promoters that qualify for this, in my opinion, this year. Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, Al Heyman, PBC. That's what we got. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, Bob Arum, TopRank, and Al Heyman. He's not a promoter, he's a manager or whatever, but he's in charge of the PBC, let's be real. Okay, now all three, they qualify. Now, there's someone else who can be mentioned, but he definitely is not the Promoter of the Year. Oscar De La Hoya. If you lose Canelo, the biggest financial star in all of boxing, if you lose him, you are disqualified from the conversation. You're out. No good. You are not the Promoter of the Year. Next, Eddie Hearn did an exceptional job all year long. Through the pandemic, he actually did bring some boxing through. He had his fight camp at his house, but I can't really say he's the guy. Al Heyman, he brought some big crowds back. He brought us big fights with Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz, whether we were asking for it as a community of boxing fans or not. He brought us Spence versus Garcia in front of a crowd in Texas, whether we were asking for it or not. The Tank versus Santa Cruz fight was very exciting. It was a knockout. It was to be expected, but it was a very exciting fight. But just because you brought a couple of exciting fights in front of crowds, that doesn't really qualify you to be Promoter of the Year. Truthfully, truth be told, in my opinion, Bob Arum, TopRank, is the Promoter of the Year. And I'll explain to you why. During the pandemic, he did bring us fights in his bubble. He did. And a lot of people were very critical of that. And I can understand that. But he brought us boxing every third day. In a time when there was not a lot of entertainment going on. At a time, in April, May, and June, when it was very tough, when it was very difficult to get any sort of content out there. And he consistently put fights out there, and he put some world title fights out there. They weren't the highest level world title fights, I'm not going to lie to you, but he put world title fights out there. He also promoted Teofimo Lopez against Vasily Lomachenko, which was, for the unified 3 out of 4 major sanctioning body world titles at lightweight. He promoted that event. It was a success. He promoted the biggest fight of the year, in my opinion, which was in front of a crowd pre-pandemic, which was Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. And his pony in the show, the top-ranked horse, Tyson Fury, came out on top. So all things considered, promoting the biggest fights of the year, bringing content to the boxing fans on a consistent basis in a very difficult time period, of human history. Bob Arum is definitely, Bob Arum and TopRank, definitely the promoter and the promotion of the year. So congratulations to Bob Arum, the Promoter of the Year. We're gonna move on to another tricky category here. We're gonna move on to the Female Fighter of the Year. Now, I had 3 major candidates, in my opinion, for Female Fighter of the Year: Terry Harper, Katie Taylor, Jessica McCaskill. Terry Harper fought 3 times in 2020. 3 times, and she won 2 of the big fights. She won 2 fights. She fought a draw with Natasha Jonas, a very tough fight, and she's not shying away from the rematch. And she's already bounced back, and she's already, won in 2020 after having a draw with Natasha Jonas, a very tough opponent. So Terry Harper was considered. Katie Taylor was considered. She won her rematch with Delphine Persoon. She didn't shy away from Delphine Persoon and Katie Taylor fought 2019 on the Anthony Joshua undercard, Madison Square Garden. Very close fight, controversial, split decision. Katie Taylor walked away the winner. Did she benefit from the A-side benefit of the judges? Possibly, but it was a close fight. And I love Katie Taylor. I take nothing away from her. She went right back to the rematch. She fought Delphine Persoon again in the rematch, and she won. Again, it was a very close fight. It was a very close fight. But she went in there and she took care of business. But she's not my Female Fighter of the Year. My Female Fighter of the Year, the DreameLand Boxing International Fighter of the Year, the Female Boxer of the Year, is Jessica McCaskill. I congratulate Jessica McCaskill. She defeated the longest champion in all of boxing. The longest champion in all of boxing, Cecilia Brækhus. Cecilia Brækhus, previous to being upset by Jessica McCaskill for the undisputed women's championship, she was the longest standing champion in all of boxing. And Jessica McCaskill beat Cecilia Brækhus. She beat her convincingly, and she took the belts. She is the undisputed champion. Congratulations to Jessica McCaskill. Incredible, great job, great work. I must say I was beyond impressed, and definitely by beating Cecilia Brækhus, deserves to be the female fighter of the year. We're going to move on to the male fighter of the year. Okay, and I had a couple of guys here. Teofimo Lopez is a candidate, Canelo is a candidate, and Tyson Fury is a candidate. Tyson Fury, candidate because he was the underdog in the in the Deontay Wilder rematch. Tyson Fury was the underdog. He was not favored to win that fight. Was it close to a 50-50? Yes, but he was not expected to win that fight by any stretch of the imagination. And he went over there and he beat Deontay Wilder. He beat him. He stopped him. He embarrassed that guy. He bounced him off the canvas like a basketball and stopped him. That's what happened. But he's not the fighter of the year. Canelo became a full-fledged world champion in his fourth weight class and beat the authority at super middleweight. He beat the authority at 168. Callum Smith, the quote-unquote Ring Magazine champion, the winner of the World Boxing Super Series a couple of years ago at super middleweight at 168. Canelo beat that guy. Beat him every round. Beat him so bad, was punching him in the arm so much, the guy's arm needs some kind of procedure or something, some kind of, detached bicep or separated shoulder. Canelo beat Callum Smith from pillar to post. It's not the fighter of the year. Congratulations to the fighter of the year, Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez went out there this year. He's been calling out Vasily Lomachenko since the beginning of his own career. Since Teofimo started, he put a target on what he wanted, Vasily Lomachenko. Him and his father. Teofimo Lopez and his father both. They put the bullseye on Lomachenko, and they went out there and they got it. They didn't clout chase. They didn't name drop. They went after it and they got it. And Teofimo Lopez went out there and he beat Vasily Lomachenko. It was a close fight, but the first half of the fight was all Lopez. And in my opinion, Lopez won the final round. He might have won 8 rounds of the fight. I gave him 7. But Teofimo Lopez beat who was supposed to be the top, in some guys' circles, the top pound-for-pound guy, Vasily Lomachenko. Teofimo Lopez went out there and smacked that guy around. Showed him who's boss. And he did it Brooklyn strong. So I congratulate Teofimo Lopez. And he's the DreameLand Boxing International Fighter of the Year. Congratulations, Teofimo Lopez. Moving on. We're going to go for the Fight of the Year. Now, I didn't separate this category into Female Fight of the Year and Male Fight of the Year. This is just Fight of the Year. And I had a couple of nominees. Katie Taylor and Delphine Persoon 2. Excellent fight. Good scrap. The distance, for the entire duration of the fight, it was toe-to-toe action. It was an incredible fight. It was great. Really, truly phenomenal stuff. Love the fight, Taylor and Persoon 2, but that's not the DreameLand Boxing Fight of the Year. Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas, another great scrap. It was a draw. It was a real close fight. They were going at it, and it was a lot of action in that fight, and it was very hard to say who came out on top. I do feel that a draw was the appropriate, outcome of that fight. I have no problems with the draw, but that's not the Fight of the Year. Juan Francisco Estrada versus Carlos Cuadras. That was a great fight, a real close fight, beautiful fight. Juan Francisco Estrada did what he had to do. He got the victory, but that's not the Fight of the Year. Nakatani and Verdejo a couple weeks ago. Good fight, good scrap, good stuff. But let me tell you, that's not the Fight of the Year either. And I congratulate Nakatani on the upset of Verdejo, especially getting up off the canvas the way he did to upset Verdejo, but that's not the Fight of the Year. The Fight of the Year is far and away, head and shoulders above all the other fights. And that's Jose Zapata, his 5th round knockout of Ivan Baranchyk on ESPN Top Rank. Let me tell you, that's the Fight of the Year. If you could watch one fight all year, if Bobby Dream could tell you to watch one fight, just watch one fight all year, Zapata and Baranchyk is the fight. Jose Zapata and Ivan Baranchyk, there was almost, I think, 9 knockdowns in the fight collectively. They were both up and down off the canvas, and Zepeda did what he had to do. And when he stopped Baranchyk, if you haven't seen the ending of the fight, if you haven't seen the finish, I advise you to, after watching this video, to YouTube that video. Go watch Zepeda and Baranchyk as soon as you're done watching this video, because that's how great that fight was. I don't care if you saw it before. Watch it again. Watch it again. It's only 5 rounds. Take you about 20 minutes. Boxing beauty, artistry. Truly something special and spectacular to watch. No, it wasn't, Floyd Mayweather against Pernell Whitaker. It wasn't the highest level of boxers doing their slick boxing. No, but this was a good scrap. This was a good old-fashioned TV fight that really can't miss TV. Great fight. Moving on, we're going to go to the knockout of the year. The knockout of the year. Now, there's a couple of nominees. Inoue and Maloney. Inoue and Jason Maloney. When the monster Inoue stopped Maloney in the 7th round, very impressive. Very impressive. Not the knockout of the year. Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin. Dillian Whyte was bouncing Alexander Povetkin off the canvas. I think Povetkin was down 4 times in the fight. 3 or 4 times. And Dillian Whyte, he was out there looking for the finish, and Povetkin stopped him with the uppercut. Hit him with the uppercut, heard around the world, knocked his head almost clear off his shoulders. And that is close to the knockout of the year. It really is, because it was an upset. It was a special fight. But that's not the knockout of the year in my opinion. In my opinion, the knockout of the year was Tank Davis knocking out Leo Santa Cruz. And a lot of people are saying, well, it was expected that Tank Davis was going to knock out Leo Santa Cruz, because Leo's a little guy coming up and Tank's a bigger guy. And Tank's fight was at 135 previous to fighting Leo at 130. So Tank's a big guy coming down. Leo's a small guy moving up. So the little guy really don't stand much of a chance in that race. But the fact remains that this was a fight that was in front of a fairly large crowd. About 10,000 or 11,000 people were there at the Alamo Dome. Okay, at the Alamo. And this was a fight that was one of the first to have a big crowd and a big fight with a spectacular knockout. So, all things considered, the Whyte knockout and the Santa Cruz knockout, both of them getting knocked out, they're right there. But what really pushes it for me is the fact that Tank knocked, Santa Cruz out in front of all those people, and the reaction it got. It just pushed it just a little bit. It pushed it past the photo finish for me. And as much as I really enjoyed the Povetkin and Whyte fight and the upset and the unexpected knockout of the year for me is Tank Davis knocking out Leo Santa Cruz in the 6th. That was the knockout of the year for me. Now, we're going to go over the robbery of the year. This is a category that not a lot of guys touch on, but I'm a boxing fan, and robberies have been going on forever. I mean, Pernell Whitaker was robbed many times in his career. The draw with Chavez stands out. The loss to De La Hoya, among others. Pernell Whitaker was a guy who got robbed on the cards a lot. It happened. He wasn't the only one. Lennox Lewis, when he got the draw in the Garden with Evander Holyfield. Look, Evander Holyfield might be my favorite boxer in history. He really might be. He's one of them. He's definitely one of them. Marvin Hagler, Evander Holyfield, Sugar Ray Robinson. Before my time, but I still got a lot of respect for him. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson. I love those guys. Evander Holyfield's in that conversation for me, but that was a robbery. There's no way in hell. No way in hell Evander Holyfield deserved the draw against Lennox Lewis. So we're going to touch on the robbery of the year for this year. And there's 3 that really stand out in my mind, okay? One of them is the one I'll speak about first, and that's Andrew Maloney being robbed by Joshua Franco. Now, this was a no contest. They said there was a headbutt that closed Franco's eye. There was no headbutt. What closed his eye was the jab. Andrew Maloney hit him with, I think, 50 jabs in the first round. Are you kidding me? That's what closed the guy's eye, not a headbutt. There was no headbutt to that side of Joshua Franco's face where his eye was shut. There was no headbutt on that side. It was the jab. And they actually looked at the replay, and the referees robbed Andrew Maloney of justice because it was evident on the replays within a matter of seconds that there was no headbutt on that side at all. There was no headbutt on that side to that eye at all. And the eye shut from the jab. And, in my opinion, that's the robbery of the year. But there's two other fights that, in my opinion, were more traditional robberies that we're going to do a three-way tie on this one. I'll give away the outcome. Louis Ritson and Miguel Vasquez. I feel bad for Mickey Vasquez, man. I do. He's been robbed 3 times now on the world stage for championships. Louis Ritson might have won 2 or 3 rounds of that fight. Maybe. It wasn't a pretty fight. It wasn't the greatest fight to watch, but Mickey Vasquez, he deserved the win. And he was robbed. The other robbery of the year, in my opinion, was Florian Marcoux getting a draw with Jamie Stewart. Now, all credit in the world to Jamie Stewart. This fight was, a couple weeks ago, and Jamie Stewart took the fight on short notice. He did. He took the fight, I think, on a Wednesday. So, he took the fight for a payday. He wasn't really expecting himself to win. I'm sure he believed in himself, and he gave his best efforts. But he took that fight, probably more often than not, in his head, looking for a payday. When you take a fight on a Wednesday that's taking place on the weekend, I don't think you're looking to win. You're looking for a payday. He fought well, but he got dropped. And I thought Florian Marcoux won every round of the fight, and he got a knockdown. But somehow the referee called this, I think it was a 6-round fight, called it a draw. I have no idea how. One guy's landing more punches than the other guy every round. The heavier punches, he's the aggressor, and he knocks the other guy down, and it's a draw. I got no idea. So there were 3 robberies, and they all qualify for robbery of the year. Mickey Vasquez, Florian Marcoux, and Andrew Maloney. All 3 is deserved to win. All 3 is got robbed. And finally, we're going to touch on the upset of the year. And in my opinion, there's only 2 fights. Well, I shouldn't say only 2. There's 3 fights, really, that you can nominate for upset of the year. Joe Joyce upsetting Daniel Dubois. Now, that was close to a 50-50 fight, but I don't think anybody saw Joe Joyce really dominate, going out there and, for lack of a better term, just dominating the fight with his jab. All he had to do was put his left hand out there and punch Daniel in the eye. That's all he had to do. He shut the man's eye, and Daniel took a knee. That was definitely an unexpected outcome for Daniel to finish on his knee, getting stopped by Joyce, but that's not the upset of the year. Carlos Gongori stopping Ali Akhmedov in the 12th round on the undercard of the Triple G fight last weekend. Nobody saw that coming. A lot of people thought Ali Akhmedov was going to be a force at 168. And this was for the IBO Super Middleweight 168-pound championship. And Carlos Gongori went out there, and he actually had to weather the storm early. Ali Akhmedov, in the early part of the fight, was the aggressor. He was pushing forward. He was knocking Carlos around a little bit. But Carlos weathered the storm, had the better wind, had the better battery pack, had the better gas tank. And in the 12th round, he stopped that guy. And he hurt Ali Akhmedov, and he stopped him. With about a minute to go in the fight, Carlos Gongori scored an upset. And I loved it. I watched it. I loved it. I wasn't a fan of either guy before the fight. I'm watching as an observer because I love boxing. But now Carlos Gongori gained another fan. But that's not the upset of the year. The upset of the year is clearly Dillian Whyte getting knocked out and stopped in the 5th round by Alexander Povetkin. Dillian Whyte is my favorite heavyweight today. I've said it in the past. I like the guy. I like his style. I like what he does in the ring. He's great to watch. He doesn't shy away from exchanges. And he really has, improved his boxing since the beginning of his career. And I've been watching his career, since just before the Joshua fight. And, Dillian White's a guy that, I really like, and I really felt before the Povetkin fight that he would beat Wilder. That I really had a lot of confidence that he'd be a big problem for Tyson Fury. I really wanted to see that. But obviously, he got stopped by Povetkin in the upset of the year. So, congratulations to Alexander Povetkin. And there you have it. Those are the DreameLand Boxing International year-end awards. Congratulations to Teofimo Lopez, the Fighter of the Year. Congratulations to Jessica McCaskill, the Female Fighter of the Year. Congratulations to Bob Arum, the Promoter of the Year. Congratulations to Zepeda and Baranchik participating in a fight for the ages. Definitely the Fight of the Year for DreameLand Boxing International. Congratulations to Dillian White and Alexander Povetkin, more to Alexander Povetkin, for scoring the upset of the year. I send out my condolences to Mickey Vasquez, Florian Marcoux, and Andrew Maloney for the robberies of the year. And, Tank Davis, congratulations for achieving the knockout of the year over Leo Santa Cruz. Dreamers in Dreamland, until we meet again, it's been a pleasure. Your pleasure, not mine. I love each and every one of you, not near equally. And until we meet again, peace.